The gap from where you are today and where you want to be is, well, it's what we do. And believe it or not, you're going to tell us what you want and we'll help you get there. Sounds simple, doesn't it? From the home base in Brookfield, Wisconsin, welcome to the latest episode of Inside Connect and Simplify. And it's all about getting you from where you are right now to where you want to be regarding your admin tasks and how you manage your employees. Roger here, human capital management consultant, marketing guy. And one of my roles here is to talk to business owners, find out where they are currently at, find out where they'd like to be, and then describe how we might move from that to that, if that makes sense. Do me a favor, put your arm straight out in front of you like you're shaking someone's hand. Let's call that where you are. For example, you're currently using a manual process for tracking PTO that includes an Excel spreadsheet and columns for the dates and rows for the employees. Or you use a whiteboard or a Google Calendar. This is where you are. Now put your other arm out and raise it straight up like you're giving a high five. This is where you want to be in tracking PTO. The distance between your hands is a gap. What is that? Maybe a foot between the handshake and the high five? Maybe. What is it between PTO and a whiteboard and automating PTO? It's absolutely more than a foot, but how much more? And don't give me that look that says, hey, look, let's look at this in 6 months, or the new budget comes out in January. 6 months from now, you will be exactly where you are today. Still not have a solution. The gap still exists. And the time and expense of not making a change just continues to add up. So that distance, the gap, let's solve the gap. And let's be clear. The example is PTO on a whiteboard. The gap you need to solve could be any admin task that has a manual component. It could be applicant tracking, recruiting, hiring, onboarding, training, reviews, PTO, scheduling, compensation, time labor management, payroll, succession planning, absence tracking, electronic benefits enrollment, retirement plan, certification tracking, audit reports, compliance tracking. There's probably more. How many of those have a gap, a space between where you currently are and where you would like to be, where you would rather be, where you need to be? And no, I'm not going to do an example for each one of those I just listed. We don't have that kind of time. I will say that some of the most common ones I hear when I'm talking with business owners are the gaps that need fixing regarding onboarding or benefits enrollment or payroll. Onboarding and the entire HR process around hiring staff is cumbersome in a manual landscape. Stacks of paper that need signing and they need to go to wherever they need to go, and the company needs to retain the proper docs to be compliant. It's a lot of steps. This is where you are. Automate the process. The new employee reads and signs everything online. They're guided through the process. When they hit the submit button, it goes to your HR teammate who reviews. And then they push the button to move the paperwork along, to store documents, and provide an audit trail for every action. We've just closed that gap. For benefits enrollment, that can be the most manual process of all. Give the employee a stack of options to sort through, sign, and return to HR, who then has to sort and send it on to the carriers. And that's the really, really short version of how that works. Is this where you are? If you automate the process, the employee only sees the options they are eligible for. They make selections, see the impact on their paycheck, they push the submit button, and move it on to the supervisor. When all of the employees are done, the supervisor moves the selections on electronically to the carriers. No paper. That gap is closed. And then what about payroll? Are you still using time cards? Why? Spreadsheets to track overtime separately, to track PTO, leave, shift differential, cost centers, filing taxes manually, manual reports. Is this where you are? By the way, ever deal with an error in any one of these at all? Ever? How quickly was that resolved? Also keep in mind, a payroll error impacts retirement plan reporting and employee benefits reporting as well. And if you have different vendors or platforms or software packages for payroll, retirement, and health insurance, I know that means additional work to make those corrections. Is this where you are? Would you like to close that gap from where you are right now to where you want to be? Like I said earlier, you are going to tell us where you are right now and also where you want to be. The question then becomes, do you want to close that gap, or are you going to wait because it's working okay, or because the budget is tight, or because that's a next year issue? You've told us where you are and where you want to be. Postpone acting or do nothing, and 6 months from now, a year from now, you're still right where you were and no closer to a solution. And I'm sure you may have thought, hey, we don't need any help, or yeah, we're good with everything, wouldn't change a thing. Well, when I talk to businesses, I truly believe we can help every one of them. Not once have I come away from a meeting saying, there's nothing we can possibly do to help them improve their processes, because there's always something. Do we always agree on making a change? Of course not. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's not seeing the possibilities. That's usually on me for not giving them enough info to see that a change could be a win. But I always see a gap. So where are you right now? Where would you like to be? If you could make a change for the better, what would that look like? And maybe, just maybe, most importantly, if you do nothing, where will you be this time next year? There's a gap somewhere in one or more of your admin processes, from where you are to where you want to be. Next year, you want to be in the same exact spot, or do you want to fix it? That gap, that's what we fix for our clients. Thanks for listening. By the way, we are really good at listening. Be well.
Kurt Otto here for Benefit Companies. How much better would life be with a dozen on-staff experts glad to be responsible and accountable for human resources, payroll, benefits, insurance, and regulatory compliance? Experts current on regulations, able to answer any question accurately, working diligently, implementing efficiency, saving business and employees time, frustration, fear, and money. Insource, the Benefit Companies. We connect and simplify every aspect of business administration. Insource, the Benefit Company. ConnectandSimplify.com.